the street. This street is in the East End. There is no need to say in the East End of what. The East End is a vast city, as famous in its ways as any the hand of man has made. But who knows the East End? It is down through Cornhill and out beyond Leadenhall Street, an Aldgate pump, one will say. A shocking place where he once went with a curate, an evil plexus of slums that hide human creeping things, where filthy men and women live on penn'orths of gin, where collars and clean shirts are decencies unknown, where every citizen wears a black eye, and none ever combs his hair. The East End is a place as another, which is given over to the unemployed, and the unemployed is a race whose token is a clay pipe, and whose enemy is soap. Now and again it migrates bodily to Hyde Park with banners and furnishes adjacent police courts, with disorderly drunks. Still another knows the East End only as a place whence begging letters come. There are coal and blanket funds there, all perennially insolvent, and everybody always wants a day in the country. Many and misty are people's notions of the East End, and each is commonly but the distorted shadow of a minor feature. Foul slums there are in the East End, of course, as there are in the West. Want and misery there are, as wherever a host is gathered together to fight for food, but they are not often spectacular in kind. Of this street there are about 150 yards, on the same pattern all. It is not pretty to look at. A dingy little brick house 20 feet high, with 3 square holes to carry the windows and an oblong hole to carry the door, is not a pleasing object. And each side of this street is formed by 2 or 3 score of such houses in a row, with one front wall in common, and the effect is as of stables. Some who inhabit this street are in the docks, some in the gasworks, some in one or other of the few shipbuilding yards that yet survive on the Thames. 2 families in a house is the general rule, for there are 6 rooms behind each set of holes. This, unless young men lodgers are taken in, or there are grown sons paying for bed and board. As for the grown daughters, they marry as soon as may be. Domestic service is a social descent, and little under millinery and dressmaking is compatible with self-respect. The general servant may be caught young among the turnings at the end where mangling is done, and the factory girls live still further off, in places skirting slums. Every morning at 5:30 there is a curious demonstration. The street resounds with thunderous knockings, repeated upon door after door, and acknowledged ever by a muffled shout from within. These signals are the work of the night watchman, or the early policeman, or both, and they summon the sleepers to go forth to the docks, the gasworks, and the shipyards. To be awakened in this wise costs 4d. a week, and for this 4d. a fierce rivalry rages between night watchman and policeman. The night watchman, a sort of by-blow of the ancient Charlie, and himself a fast-vanishing quantity, is the real professional performer. But he goes to the wall, because a large connection must be worked if the pursuit is to pay at 4d. a knocker. Now, it is not easy to bang at 2 knockers 3/4 of a mile apart, and 100 others lying between, all punctually at 5:30. Wherefore the policeman, to who the 4d. is but a perquisite, and who is content with a smaller round, is rapidly supplanting the night watchman, whose cry of "Past 9 o'clock," as he collects orders in the evening, is now seldom heard. The knocking and shouting pass, and there comes the noise of opening and shutting of doors, and a clattering away to the docks, the gasworks, and the shipyards. Later, more door-shutting is heard, and then the trotting of sorrow-laden little feet along the grim street to the grim board school 3 grim streets off. Then silence, save for a subdued sound of scrubbing here and there, and the puny squall of croupy infants. After this, a new trotting of little feet to docks, gasworks, and shipyards, with father's dinner in a basin and a red handkerchief, and so to the board school again. More muffled scrubbing and more squalling, and perhaps a feeble attempt or two at decorating.